everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm taking you along on a brand new RC adventure, and I have to admit, this is one that I've been thinking about for quite some time. As many of you know, I enjoy visiting my favorite hobby shop, Shamrock Models in Maastricht. It's one of those dangerous places where you walk in for a quick look around and somehow end up leaving with a much lighter wallet. I'm sure some of you can relate. During my latest visit, something immediately caught my eye. Sitting there on the shelf was a beautiful Tamiya Super Clod Buster Black Edition, and what made it even more tempting was the price. It was one of those moments where you tell yourself, just keep walking, Roger, you don't need another RC. But the Clod Buster had other plans. Now, over the last few months, I've heard various rumors floating around the RC community. You know how these things work. Somebody reads something on a forum, somebody else hears something in a Facebook group, and before you know it, half the hobby world is discussing it. The rumor is that the Super Clod Buster may be heading toward discontinuation. Is it true? Honestly, I have no idea. I haven't seen an official announcement, and I certainly don't have any secret contacts hiding inside Tamiya headquarters. But when enough people start talking about something, it does make you wonder. And that got me thinking. The Super Clod Buster is one of those legendary RC vehicles that has been around for decades. It's an icon. Even people who have never owned one usually know exactly what it is. Those giant monster truck tires, the twin motor setup, the classic body style. It's a vehicle that has earned its place in RC history. I've admired them for years, but for one reason or another, I never actually bought one. Every time I considered it, something else came along. A faster RC, a newer RC, a more modern RC, and the Clod Buster would quietly move back down the wish list. But then I started asking myself a very important question. What if the rumors are true? What if I keep putting it off and one day I decide I finally want one, only to discover they're gone from the shelves? Suddenly, what had always been a maybe someday purchase started feeling a lot more urgent. So, after spending at least several seconds carefully evaluating the situation, consulting my budget, ignoring my budget, and convincing myself that this was clearly a sensible financial decision, I decided to take the plunge. And just like that, the Super Clod Buster Black Edition came home with me. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Roger, you didn't buy it because it might be discontinued. You bought it because you wanted it. And honestly, you're probably right. Sometimes in this hobby, we spend a lot of time looking at specifications, comparing models, watching reviews, and calculating whether something is the perfect choice. But every now and then, a model comes along that simply makes you smile. The Clod Buster is one of those vehicles. It's not the fastest monster truck in the world. It's not the most advanced. It's not packed with the latest technology. But it has something many modern RCs can't buy with all their horsepower and electronics: character. In today's video, we're going to take a closer look at this legendary monster truck, check out the Black Edition, admire those huge tires, and see exactly what makes the Super Clod Buster so special after all these years. Did I make a great decision? Did I rescue a future collector's item before it's too late? Or did I simply find a very creative excuse to buy another RC? Let's find out together. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and enjoy the video. Let's get started. With the engine sound system now installed, this beautiful Tamiya Super Clod Buster Black Edition is finally ready for action. Equipped with a powerful 40-kilogram steering servo, oil-filled shock absorbers, two black sport tune motors, full ball bearings, aluminum gearbox protectors, and a Spektrum SLT3 transmitter and receiver, this legendary monster truck is now exactly how I envisioned it. After spending time building, upgrading, and adding a few personal touches, there's only one thing left to do. Take it to the track and see what it can do. Of course, performance isn't the only thing that matters with a Super Clod Buster. Let's be honest, this truck is all about fun, nostalgia, and that unmistakable monster truck presence. The huge tires, the classic body, and now the realistic engine sound system make it an absolute joy to drive. Will it set any speed records today? Probably not. Will it put a huge smile on my face? Almost certainly. So, it's time to stop admiring it in the workshop, load up the batteries, head to the track, and finally give this beauty the maiden run it deserves. Let's see how the Super Clod Buster Black Edition performs, sounds, and handles out in the real world. Most importantly, let's enjoy every minute of driving this RC legend. Well, it turns out my first impression was absolutely right. This thing is an absolute blast. From the moment I pulled the trigger and started driving, I couldn't stop smiling. The Super Clod Buster isn't trying to be the fastest RC on the planet, and honestly, that's exactly what makes it so much fun. There's just something special about cruising around, climbing over obstacles, making ridiculously tight turns, and generally messing about without a care in the world. No lap times, no speed records, no pressure, just pure RC enjoyment. The steering takes a little getting used to. With the four-wheel steering system, the truck behaves very differently from most of the RCs I'm used to driving. The first few corners felt a bit like I was trying to steer a shopping cart that had secretly completed an advanced driving course. But after a few minutes behind the wheel, it all started to make sense. In fact, the unusual steering quickly became part of the charm. Once you get used to it, you can place the truck exactly where you want it and make surprisingly tight turns for such a big monster truck. The sport-tuned motors also give the truck a nice little boost. We're not talking about crazy speed here, and that's perfectly fine. The extra power is just enough to make the Clodbuster feel lively and playful while still keeping that classic monster truck character we all love. And then there's the sound system. Every time the truck rolled past with those engine sounds rumbling away, I found myself grinning from ear to ear. Does it make the truck faster? Not at all. Does it make every drive feel more entertaining? Absolutely. What I really love about the Clodbuster is that it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not trying to break records or dominate the latest racing class. It's simply here to have fun. And somehow that makes it one of the most enjoyable RCs I've driven in a long time. Before I knew it, the battery was nearly empty and I was still finding excuses to do just one more lap. You know an RC is special when you keep telling yourself you're done driving and then somehow drive for another 20 minutes. So if you've been thinking about getting a Clodbuster and the rumors about it becoming discontinued turn out to be true, my advice would be simple. Get one while you still can. It's a fantastic RC, full of character, packed with nostalgia, and guaranteed to provide countless hours of fun and laughter. Thank you once again for watching. I really appreciate your support. And as always, on to the next RC adventure.